Hi, audience. I hope you are doing really fine. I am Abhishek from Chessbrainz. We are back with another Chessbrainz Club Arena 2 tournament. And we have Pratik sir with us today on the stream. Hi, Pratik sir.
Hey, hi Abhishek, how are you?
I'm just doing amazing. So, are you excited for the thrilling games that the kids are going to bring for us?
Yeah, absolutely Abhishek, why not? Because the last tournament was great. Okay, there were some really closely contested games, and I'm looking forward to it today as well.
Okay, so let's start with the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go with. So, uh, Yes. So the first game is being played between Manvik, he's playing from white, and Arnav is playing from the pieces of black. So what do you think about this position? Where is it heading to?
Yeah, first of all, I'm just looking at the rating points of both the players. So Manvik is 1600 and Arnav is 1700. So not much of a rating gap. So I'm expecting a very closely contested game here, Abhishek. And when I look at the position materially, I think both the players are doing fine. I'm just worried as the king is at the center of the board for both the players, right? So I recommend
Yes.
that the kids should castle as early as possible, right? But apart from that, I think
Yes.
everything is fine. Yeah. If you see here, the king is
Now
dancing on the board, right? The black's king is on d7.
and the white king cannot castle because the G1 square, the landing square of the king was under the threat of the bishop. So white has decided to castle on the queen side.
Correct. That was a smart call. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, now I can see Abhishek that the white's queen is under attack. Okay, yeah, cleverly saved the queen.
Yes. Okay. So
Let's see.
here black has even undoubled their pawns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, rook takes pawn. Okay,
White is trading and white has less material. That seems a bit different.
no, but why did white give away the rook? Can you just go
Then
two
got
moves back? Yeah. So what
here
is
they
the
have
point?
given a rook. Not sure. I have no clue about it. I think on the other side, the Arnav is taking enough time to play his game, whereas Manvik is going a bit fast in this position.
Yeah,
Okay, so seems like I think the black has a clear win here. Can we head
correct.
to the next game?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So now we are getting a request from Samagra. So we'll go in his game and
Oh,
see what has he brought on the board. So in this position, Samagra is playing from the pieces of white and Checkmate Serum is playing from the pieces of black. And yeah,
sure, Abhishek. Can you please enlarge the board? Yeah, great. Thank you.
yes. Yeah. So as we can see in this position, oh,
Okay.
all right. The position seems fine for both of them, but I think white is having some tactical play. Yes.
Correct.
So in this position, I think black's king is fairly safe. And I think white has not activated their last rook from a1 if you see in this position.
Correct. Yeah. So I believe this is a better position for white because if you see the white's bishop, which is on c3 square, okay, it is actually controlling a very long diagonal till h8, right?
Yes.
So during the class, they might have learned that when there's a position which is opened up, the bishop becomes really powerful. So bishop is
Yeah,
always powerful than the knight in an open position because it controls a long diagonal.
exactly. And how can we forget about the presence of rook
Okay,
on
rook
the
on
seventh
seventh
rank?
rank again. Abhishek, rook is extremely powerful.
Yeah. So the kid has managed to win a free pawn from Samagra right now. And the position is looking really sharp for both the players. The bishop has moved on d4,
Yeah,
defending itself and creating an attack against a7.
correct. So black is 2 pawns up, correct? And that said,
Yes,
that's an extremely decisive advantage when you are 2 pawns up, but white has got 1 pawn back.
exactly. In this position, the game sees fairly better for the black, and even their pawns have like entered in the opponent's half of the board, making it a clear sign of the victory for black at this point.
Correct.
But how is black going to hold up this position? That is going to be a big question here. Because if you notice, the black has a bit of weak pawns in this position. So brilliant play from Samagra, trying to prevent the push of this pawn on the next square.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, position seems fine, I guess. Both the players are doing fine. Can we go and check the next game in the meantime?
Yeah, surely, Abhishek. We should.
Perfect. Let's head on to the next request we are getting. Parents, you can type your kid's leech's username in the chat, and please ensure you type the right username so we can quickly find your kid and we can, demonstrate their game to you. Okay, I'm not able to find the Abraham's username. Okay, in the meantime, we can go to we can go to, let's say, Avyan's game. Avyan is playing against Manvit, and let's quickly go through this game. So, Pratik sir, what do you think about this position? Who is doing better?
Yes, Abhishek, can you please open up that board?
Okay. Oh, I got the point. Yeah. So in this position, who is playing who is playing better in this position according to you?
See, first of all, Abhishek, we first need to understand who has a material advantage in this position. Correct. So when I look at the
Exactly.
position, I see that white has 2 minor pieces and black has only 1 minor piece, which is bishop. And the worst part is black's bishop is trapped at the corner of the board.
Yes.
So there is no
And when
way
you
for black to get the bishop out.
exactly, and if you look at this, pawn wedge, it is completely currently pressing the black's position. Also, the dark square weaknesses. I think black is in a big trouble right now.
Correct.
But I just wanted to point up one. I just wanted to bring one point currently that the knight is on the edge of the board. The knights on the rim are dim. So they have an extra knight, but they need to bring it to a more active position, is what I'm thinking right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there is a famous saying in chess that if you help your pieces will help you out. Correct. So instead of getting, so this is a clever move. The knight is at the center of the board where it is extremely powerful because it can control more number of squares.
Yes.
While when the knight is
Knight.
at the corner of the board, it can control very less number of squares.
Exactly. Now now we are going to see how is the white is going to convert their advantage into a complete victory.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Uh,
If white plays accurately, it should be easy. Yeah, correct. That's what I thought. The pawn which is on d5, it's a pass pawn. Correct. So
yes.
you have to support your pass pawn and ensure that it reaches the last rank of the board, and you promote your pawn. That is the easiest way to win the game.
Exactly. And the position seems fairly better for the white. Let's go through the next request we are getting.
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah. So, yeah. We are currently going to take a look at the game of, the game has just ended. So, Kailash was playing white in this position against Parth, and the results are in front of you.
Black
I think
resigned.
black has resigned and white has already secured a beautiful victory. Okay, I guess we are, We can go to the next game of Fardan. Yeah. So Fardan is currently fighting against Mitra. Fardan is playing as white and Mitra is playing as black. So if I
Mm-hmm.
try to give an evaluation of this position, Black King is yet in the center, but Black is doing a bit of aggressive play on the board currently, where they are looking to achieve the queen and the helper checkmate. Even the dark square bishop is even well placed, and the absence of f pawn is making that bishop more stronger in the position. What is your take on this position, by the way?
Abhishek, it is a scary position for white. I'm not sure how white can save the checkmate, right? So even if white plays pawn to h3, queen can capture the knight on g3, right? So there are so
Exactly.
many threats coming up, and it is extremely scary for white. The reason for that I can see if you look at the white's position carefully, the knight on b1 is not developed. The bishop on c1
Yes.
is not developed. Correct. So this is not an ideal
Yes.
position. You should develop your pieces as early as possible so that you can counter any threat that your opponent poses to you.
Exactly. Like the pieces are quite undeveloped. And Black is currently playing fearlessly without castling. We suggest the kids to castle as quick as possible. But I think Black even knows that as the white pieces are not developed, without their
Correct.
development, they can't even reach the Black's king. So probably that. Oh, there's a check in the position now.
Actually, black had a better move. Black should have simply captured the knight on g3 with the queen, and there was a one move checkmate
Exactly.
after that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think position looks quite favoring to the black. We'll come back to this game later on. We can try and take a new game now. Okay. Now we are getting a request from the Nithilin. So Nithilin is playing as white, and they are going against Vivek, who is playing as black.
Hmm?
Okay, we are just in currently the opening phase.
Yeah.
Yes. So black has managed to get a tempo. Probably white was supposed to capture on d5.
Correct.
Okay.
Fine. Knight at the center of the board looks really strong, but some pawns can attack that knight.
Yes. Black is trying to just neutralize the threat of the knight.
True. I think that's a good ploy. Whenever you see that your opponent's piece is at the center of the board and when it looks extremely powerful, just try to neutralize it by exchanging the piece. That is the easiest way.
Yes. Pratik sir, what is your take on having double pawns but near your castle?
Uh, it's absolutely fine, okay? Because see, there are some advantages of having double pawns as well. First of all, if you see the e file is open for black, so black can attack on the e file, correct? And when you have an extra guard, okay, which is a pawn on f6 for black, right? That is more protection for
Yes.
the black skin. So in this
Yeah.
position, it's absolutely fine.
Okay. And black is currently trying to exploit the pin. They're
True.
putting more pressure on the pin piece. So I think both players should castle as quickly as possible. I think that is my first recommendation to both the players. And they should get their pieces into the battle quickly. Okay, so the f pawn has been moved by the white player. Okay, the position seems fine right now for both of them. I think white is doing a bit better because of more development,
True. A lead in development for sure.
leading
Now,
development as well, and their upper pawn as well.
correct. And another problem with black's position, Abhishek, here, what I see here is the queen is on e7. And because the queen is
Yes,
on e7, it is actually blocking the development of the black bishop,
exactly.
right? So,
The
and another concern for me is black is not developing the pieces but just moving the pawns. So the
yes,
attack won't be successful if your pieces are not developed.
That's
right? So this
quite
is
true.
a great position for white. White has castle. This is a
Yeah.
fantastic position for white.
And another intellectual play by the white actually, because they have castled on the queen side, knowing the fact that my opponent's intentions are storming on the
True.
king side. So I think, yeah, that was a great decision taken by the white.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really
That
going
was a
to,
clever one.
yeah,
Certainly. Okay, we can, I think, go to the next game.
next game. Yes. Okay. We are getting a lot of requests. So we are going to definitely take on your request. Now we are going to go on the Sharvi's game. So Sharvi is playing from the pieces of white against Sai Shri Dash. She's playing from the pieces of black. Okay, I think both players have went for an early attack.
Yes, Abhishek, can you please open up that position?
Yes.
Great.
Currently, this was the position when I came on the board, and white has suddenly got their queen on f3, blundering it to a pawn.
Abhishek, I believe that was a mouse sleep. White was going to capture the pawn on g4. It was a free pawn on g4.
Yes, it was meant to be a free pawn, but that mouse sleep has led to a big disaster for the white right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the players have to be extremely careful while they're playing online. The reason is there can be some mouse slips and you might lose your queen as well. And this is what we have seen.
Yes. Now, when the white's knight is getting attacked, white has played pawn to d3. I think a better deal would have been knight captures on f7, winning a pawn
Absolutely.
and threatening the cornered rook.
True, true, true.
Okay, the game is going on.
I
I
don't
think,
think white is putting any efforts to think in this position, right? And just blitzing the moves.
yes. But I would
This is
like to
not
bring
a good picture.
one more point that white is currently, it seems like they have just started their chess journey.
Yeah,
So their rating, I think, is telling us that.
true, true. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, but yeah, I think black has played perfectly fine. Even black is trading the pieces when they have more material.
And also opening up the opponent's king. So it's a
Yes.
dual advantage.
Yes. Now it's just the matter of bringing some pieces near the white's king, and the white's king is going to be in a trouble of the checkmate.
True. Yeah.
Okay, we can go through the next game.
Mhm.
Fine. So the next request is coming from, yeah, Abram. So Abram is playing from the pieces of black, and Shreyansh is playing from the pieces of white. They are currently into the opening phase, and we just need to see, okay, the movement of f pawn, this weakens your king along this diagonal. So the
So this
point
is.
here is, yes,
Oh no, please go ahead, Abhishek. So what I was trying to tell here is we don't recommend anyone to play the pawn to f6, right? That move is not at all recommended because it opens up the black's king.
yes.
And
At
another
some,
position, yeah, another problem with pawn to f6 is actually a natural square for the knight. Your knight should land on f6, not the pawn.
yes, the knights on the rim are dim. If your knight goes f3, it
Yeah.
is a great place for the knight to control the center and help your king to make his castle. Now, black is again moving the same piece multiple times. That is what not we
Mhm.
recommend to our kids. But because then the black is going to remain behind in terms of the development. And in one move, we should look to develop a new piece with every move. Okay, I think both the players needs to play a bit slower. You don't have to rush. Take your time and then play the game. I think the results are going to be more fruitful. Okay, so black's king side is completely collapsed at this point. And I guess a simple idea could be going rook to g8 and lining your rook against the opponent's king, then castling on the queen side, and I think black is good to start their attack on the king side.
Yeah.
Yes. So black has just played queen e7. Maybe they are soon going to have a battery, getting the light square bishop out, completing the long castle. I think they can have a very good game. For white, okay, another intellectual move by the white here. White is trying to gain tempo, and it looks like white wants to storm on the king side, on the queen side of the board, where the black might aim to castle right now. So, what would you suggest? Should black castle on the queen side, knowing the fact that their opponent can just bring some pawns quickly, or should they leave their king in the center in this kind of position?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, Abhishek. I recommend here casting on the queen side for black so that black can actually benefit from the open g5 and launch an attack on the white's king.
Exactly,
So the best way for black to continue in this game is to castle long and attack on the g5.
exactly. And we see white has yet not connected their rooks. It's always important. The last principle of the opening is to connect your rooks. Okay, so here, when the black bishop captured on c4, it was attacking the blocked rook of white, which was trapped, and they have did a draw by mutual agreement, which is quite surprising. I think white had a bit of advantage. I mean, the black had a bit of advantage in this position. Okay, can we go to the next game?
Sure.
Yes. Okay, let's do one thing. We are going to take a random game in this position for now, and we'll see how does that goes. So let's see the leaderboard at this point. Currently, Arnav Dhama is playing on, he's leading the leaderboard. He's on the first position with 10 points and the streak of winning, 3 games in a row. Then we have the Saish, who has won 3 games in a row. Then we have Kailash, who has won 3 games in a row again. So yeah, the leaderboard looks really fine, and these kids are fighting really hard for their leaderboard. Yeah, let's take a random game now. Let's go to the Michel's game. Michel is playing currently against Summer, and this is the board. Okay. So in this position, Michel is playing from white and Summer is playing from black. Pratik sir, what do you look? How do you look at this position? The queen on g2 of the white.
So Abhishek, I still cannot see the chessboard on the screen.
I have changed it.
There can be a network issue, I believe.
Could be, but I guess I have changed the board. Okay, let me just check for a moment. Okay, so when we look at this position, currently black is clearly better because black is having a queen and a bishop by their side, and they are up in the material. Whereas white has a rook and a bishop. So the position seems clearly advantaging to the black in this position. But the inactivity of the queen is going to be a question for the black. You have the piece, but you need to keep it alive in the game. You need to keep it active. Otherwise, that queen is going to be of no use for the black, I guess.
Yes, Abhishek, you are absolutely right. Black just has to make some sensible moves, right? And if black makes some sensible moves, then this position is clearly winning for black. No doubt about that. Black is a queen up, and queen is mighty powerful, as we all know.
Yes, the queen has brought herself to the open b file, and they were trying to target the b3 pawn. I mean, the pawn which went on b3. Now, I think black is also looking to play a bit of active chess in this position. And yeah, the position looks fairly good for both the players, but I think, yeah, black has a slight advantage because of the presence of the
White
king.
can go for a checkmate, right? Abhishek, white can go for a checkmate. White has to just move the king aside and get the rook to g8. So there is one small trap that actually white can get and take advantage of it. Okay.
But black has that battery.
The problem right now, yeah.
Oh, they spotted. Okay, good game by both of the players.
So
But I
there
need
was
to
a slight
appreciate the
chance,
game of.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a slight chance, but I think white really played fine in terms of the activity. We need to appreciate, like they were also close to achieve a mate. So good game by even the white in this position.
True. That was a good game.
Okay, let's go to the next game now. Yeah, we are getting a request from Ayansh.
Mm-hmm.
Ayansh, yeah. So Ayansh is currently competing against Atvik. Atvik is playing as white, and Ayansh is playing as black. So this is going to be a very good endgame, I guess. And yeah,
Yeah, but
white
Abhishek, white has an material advantage, right? So white should ideally win this game easily.
exactly. I think
White
white
has an
looks
extra.
really better.
Yeah. Even the pawn on f7 is falling. The pawn on a7 is falling.
Yes,
Now the easiest way, yeah, the easiest way for white to win is to promote the pawn, which is on the open file, the pass pawn,
yes.
right? Just promote the pawn, get a queen on the board, and then go for a checkmate.
They have
Oh,
blundered a rook. Oh, sad for the black. But yeah, okay. Black has resigned. We can head on to the next game.
so we
We are
have
getting a
72
request.
participants today, Abhishek. We have got a very really
Yeah.
good number, 72 participants, right?
Yes, I mean,
Competing against each other.
yeah. Yes. So basically, on a weekend, there are 72 participants who love the game of chess. The number is really big, and this shows their dedication and their determination to this game.
True. Nice to see
Okay.
this.
It's really amazing. Okay, let's go to the game of Fardan right now. We are getting a request from them. So,
Sure.
Fardan is playing from the pieces of white, and Mitra is playing from the pieces of black.
Okay,
Okay,
great. So the
so
game has just started, Abhishek, right? Both the players, the best part is both players are following the opening principles. They are developing the pieces. Right now, black has to castle.
yes. And we are soon going to witness an opposite castle in this position. So I think this game is going to be really, really interesting for our audience, I guess.
True. Black should simply drop the bishop to a5 and continue with the queen. Yeah.
Exactly. And white should not try to chase with b4 because they will that is going to like expand their castle a bit, and the king is going to become a bit more weaker. Okay, they've decided to go to d6.
Okay.
Okay, I think the white knows a bit of more chess because white is trying to exchange a knight for a bishop, which is slightly more powerful than a knight.
Correct.
So yeah, I think white is looking stronger for now. But yeah, the game will tell us the rest. Is black trying? Can oh, okay. Yeah, the position looks, I think, good for both the players. Currently, it's balanced, but I think both the players should bring out their bishops into the game, connect their rooks, and as it is a game of opposite castle, they should start pawn storming each other's king. The earlier they start, the higher the chances are they're going to win that position.
You're absolutely right, Abhishek. Whenever the both the players, okay, whenever they castle on the opposite side, Each player should try to opt to attack the opponent's king as early as possible. The player who attacks first gets a decisive advantage.
Yes.
Okay, lots of exchange of pieces happening on the board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Seems
Now even the
fine.
pawn on d5 is correct.
But white has capitalized with the advantage of 2 pawns in this
True.
position. They are 2 points up. And yeah, there is a bit of rating difference between both the players, where Mitra is having 911 points and Fardan is having around 400 more points than her. So yeah, it can be clearly seen even in the games.
Okay,
Oh,
knight e7 and the queen is gone.
yeah.
It's a fork
So
on the board of the
yes, there is a fork. Now, white's one piece is attacking black's 2 pieces at once. And in one move, you can only save one piece at a time. And this time, black need to save the king. And their queen is going to fall in the next move, which is going to again give a huge material advantage to the white to complete this game into a victory. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
think we
think we
should
should go to the
head on to the next request.
right.
Yes. So we are getting the next request from the Rutuja. Parents, you can type the name of your kids. Okay, I think Rutuja's username is not visible currently. Please cross-check the username. In the meantime, we are going to go into the game of Checkmate Serum.
Mhm.
Okay, Checkmate Serum is not currently competing against anyone at this point. Once he gets paired, we'll go through their game. Okay, now we are getting one more request from the Parth. We'll head back to his game one more time and see how is he performing. So Parth has berserked in this position. Parth is playing as black and Shreyansh is playing from the pieces of white. Pratik sir, what is your take on this position?
Okay, so so whenever I see the position, the first thing that I notice is the material advantage, right? And black is a piece of. Okay, so this is a
Yes,
clear advantage for black. Unless black mess it up, this has to be a clear win. Yeah, now the fork is coming. Yeah.
yes,
So black actually is implementing lots of tactics that he or she might have learned in the class, right? And just capture the rook.
yes, exactly. I would like to update one more point that the black king had not castled. So maybe one recommendation for the black is going to be they should castle as quick as possible.
Okay, and the knight is
And
trapped up.
yes, I mean, brilliant play. Yeah. So knight is gone. Bishop is posted on the long diagonal. You can try to go with, let's say, f5, trying to exploit the frozen pawn. Okay.
F5 was better.
F5 was also good. Oh, the knight
Oh,
is hanging. I think the kids should play a bit slower. I think they are going too fast.
unnecessarily. When you have ample
Yes.
time on the board.
Yes, they do have. I think 2-3 minutes are enough when you are playing with a good advantage.
Now the game is balanced, Abhishek.
Yes. Now we can't predict who is going to win.
The player who will make less mistakes will win the game. Now see, the d3 pawn is gone.
Yes. We would request both of the players, not both, I think all of the players to play a slow chess. Going fast is, you are going too fast to fall, okay? So go a bit slow with stability. Check before making your next move on the board. Make sure you don't blunder your pieces and pawns. And yeah, I think you are going to have a great game. Okay, so white has played pawn to e5, which they tried like a discovered attack, but black
Yeah,
immediately figured out. And yeah, we are into a rook endgame at this point.
correct.
And do you see
No
that
doubt.
white is trying to create a passel?
Yeah, but that can be easily saved, right? Yeah, perfect. Now you just have to
Yeah,
block the pawn with your king. That's it.
yes. What do you think? Can black also try the same thing?
Certainly, why not?
Yeah,
When
I
you have a
mean,
passed pawn, you have to push your pawn.
yes, a passed pawn is meant to be pushed. But black has played king to 8.
Okay. Again,
Okay.
interesting. Maybe next move, black will try to get the rook to b8 and capture the pawn on b7.
Yes. Okay, it looks like a very good approach.
Yeah. Uh, this won't be the right strategy because now you will lose your pawn on a4. If the rook attacks your pawn on
Exactly.
e4, there is no way you can save the pawn.
There is no way you can save. And then white will also lose the b7. Anyways, they are losing it.
Correct. Uh, Now this is a problem, right? Once you lose your e5 pawn, you're losing too many pawns.
Yes. The king has got the entrance in the opponent's half of the board. And we always tell our kids to activate the king in the endgame. The king itself becomes a piece.
Oh,
Your king's
black
activity
should have
defines a lot.
defended the pawn, right? Abhishek, can
Yeah.
you just go one move back? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, black should have played rook to b4.
Exactly. I think rook to b4 was a good move, and then you just get your king to your pawn and you just try to roll it down. The position was quite easy for the black, but okay.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
oh,
black is still a
oh.
pawn up.
Okay. Yeah, but the king has to go to c8, right? So if you look at the position of the white's king, it is quite active.
Yeah. I think that activity is creating the difference. Though they are a pawn down, still they are able to play their game quite efficiently.
Correct.
This is going to be a game worth watching. Yeah. Oh, if you
Okay,
manage to just shut down the king's corridor, I think you have a clear passer now.
correct. So this is getting interesting.
Yeah.
We'll get the first queen on the board.
But you can't
This
stop
is-
a rook file spawn.
No, but the king is nearby. Na? Black's king is nearby. So theoretically, this is winning
Yes.
for black.
Yes. But let's see if black will be able to figure it out themselves or
Now
not.
this is easy. Na? You just get the queen on g7. Oh no, queen to g7 was clearly winning.
Yeah, queen to
Queen
g7
on
was
g7.
clearly
Next
winning.
move,
Yeah.
capture the pawn.
Oh, yes. I think black has found it, and I think black is in a good spot.
f7. Yeah. Perfect.
It
Perfect.
was
Okay,
just
next
matter of
move, it's a force mate.
yeah. True. It's a zugzwang.
Yeah, and the game is
Yes.
won. Well played.
Okay,
Yeah, it was a
brilliant game by
really
both
enjoyed
of
this.
them. Yeah. It was just amazing to see kids fighting in the end game. Okay, now we are going to go with the game of. Okay, let's take a random game now. I'm randomly going to, let's say, go on some page
Sure.
and we'll take a random game. Okay, so which game would you want me to pick up right now? Pick up a random game.
How about ROS?
Okay. RFS is currently competing against Shravan. Shravan is playing from the pieces of black and RF is playing from the pieces of white. Now, black has, the black has a clear advantage of 6 points in terms of the material.
Yeah.
And yes. Position looks okay, but I think the black has a clear advantage
Yeah,
and black is
is
looking
holding
for an
it.
aggressive play.
So many pieces attacking the white's king. This is dangerous.
Yes. I think black is playing some real aggression on the board.
Yeah, knight captures pawn on h2.
Yes.
You just compare the position of both the kings on the board, Abhishek. Look at the black's king.
Yes. The black's king is currently completely safe with its covering, and the white has not even a way to even deliver a check except bishop captures, which is a bad move. And if you look at the safety of the white king currently, it has been taken out of its fort, and I think black has a clear advantage in this position. Okay.
Okay. White has played a good move, getting the rook on the open
Yes.
file.
and attacking the
Lose your rook.
backward pawn on d6.
Yeah. Now bishop g4 check, and you lose your rook.
Yes, this bishop g4.
Okay.
Queen check. Okay. Can there be a dovetail mate from here?
There's a possibility, right? Okay, the king has to go
Uh,
to.
okay.
Actually,
The
it is better for white now.
yeah, white has
The
like
king has found
managed to
shelter.
switch the side of the king. Exactly. I mean, look at the play. Yeah, kids are like being really intelligent. That's great to see. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. I
Yeah,
guess
it's
it was a
you
good
are a
deal.
pacer, right? Yeah,
Yeah. And
you are a
as the
material up.
king managed to save itself, I think there was no point of not trading.
Exactly. When
I
you are a
think
material up.
when you are up in the material, you should trade. And yeah, position looks good for both the players. Okay, can we head to some other game now?
Sure, sure. So, do we have any
Yes.
recommendations, Abhishek?
Uh, yeah, we are getting the request from Kailash. Kailash, we are going to go to his game. Okay. Kailash is playing from the pieces of black, competing against Saish,
Mhm.
who is playing from the pieces of white. And Saish is already up in the material with 3 points.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Knight captures queen.
Yes. I think white looks slightly better, but black has not developed their minor pieces. I mean, white has not developed their minor pieces currently, which is like going to make bring a challenge into their game. Otherwise, I think white is doing completely fine. And I think black has an easy route of bringing their rooks on the open file and trying to get rid of this rook, which is attacking on the 7th rank. They need to save this pawn first. A lot of things are currently going on. Do you suggest a rook even type of a
That's
move?
right. Instead of rook e1, obviously I would have preferred knight c3, bishop f4, right? Just developing my minor pieces, which are currently
Yes.
doing nothing on the board.
Backward is awkward in the game of chess, right? If I go couple of moves back, the white rook was attacking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7 squares in the black's kingdom. But as their rook went backward, they are just attacking 4 squares in
Yeah,
the black's kingdom. So we don't recommend our kids to move their pieces backward unless there is real need of it.
true.
Yes. Okay. Now black is looking for c2, but the knight is currently protecting that square.
The knight is guarding, yeah.
Exactly. See, the bishop seems active in this position,
Okay, so this
but the
should be
pawn
clear
is.
winning for white, as white pin material.
Yes. I think white is having a clear advantage. I completely agree with you. Okay, but when you look at the light square bishop, I think it should be posted on a long diagonal and it has more activity as compared to this one where it has got blocked by a pawn. The black's knight currently is on an outpost. So, I would like to tell our viewers what is an outpost. When you move one of your piece in the opponent's kingdom, where none of their pawns can attack your piece, and when your piece is protected by a pawn, that is called as an outpost. Now, because their pawns can't kick your that piece out of their kingdom, it is going to be a really, really annoying piece for your opponent, and it is going to be a boon for you. Okay. Pratik, should we go to another game?
Yeah, surely we can.
Yes. Okay. Now we are going to go to the game of Checkmate Serum again because we are just getting the request. So why not?
Hmm.
Okay. In this
Surely we
position,
can.
Serum is playing from the pieces of white and Michelle Candy is playing from the pieces of black. What is your take on this position?
Okay, so Abhishek, when I have a look at this position, my concern here is both the kings are still at the center of the board, but white is doing better. Oh, the game is over now for black. Knight takes e5 and the queen is gone.
Yeah, this is the reason why we tell our kids you
Just
should
as
not get your queen early in the game.
just as we were trying to analyze this game, Abhishek, what happened? The queen is off the board.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's a crime in chess, right? You just give away your queen for free. She's the
yes,
strongest piece on the board. You have to protect your queen.
exactly. Now,
99% of the times you will lose your game once your queen is gone, right? So ensure that your
exactly.
queen stays safe so that she can attack the opponent's king and deliver the checkmate.
I completely agree to it. And we saw a really good move coming from the white. Bishop captures on
Mhm.
f6. Now, when the black
Yeah,
takes back, I think black's pawn structure is completely collapsed on the king side, and black already did not had a chance to castle on the queen side, and now they cannot even castle on the king, king side as well. Their queen side was broken, and now the white ended up breaking the king side too. So that's how the game is currently rolling.
no, white has to activate the pieces, right? He has to get the queen at the center of the board, has to connect the rooks, maybe do a center pawn break by playing f4. Like, unless you play
Yes,
f4, you cannot activate your rook. Okay, even this is fine, right? White can play h4 and h5. Oh, okay. What is this? Can you just go one move back, Abhishek?
sure.
Instead of pawn to f4, I would suggest pawn to h4, pawn to h4, and then pawn to h5, and you trap the white and you trap the black's bishop.
Yes, the bishop is going to completely lose its life after h4, h5. And yeah, I completely agree. So we often recommend kids to not keep their bishops on these 8 squares. And the point is, your bishop can easily get chased by the opponent's pawn and eventually it can get trapped. So we never recommend you to get your bishops on these 8 squares.
You are absolutely correct, Abhishek. Yeah, but here white played pawn to f4, which is again a decent move.
Yes. So
Now
how has the
f5,
game went?
f5, right?
Even f5 would have trapped this bishop completely. But the kid has taken the pawn in the center, trying to open up the rook and attack the, uh, doubled isolated pawn. But after the bishop takes, I think that pawn has been well covered by the black. So yeah,
Correct.
black has managed to tie up the bishop and pawn together. I mean, that's just amazing that they are holding up on their weaknesses so in a great fashion.
True, true. Yeah, I think we can go to the
Oh,
next game. Oh,
yes.
this was dangerous. Okay, so many attacks.
Black is suddenly coming back in the game by centralizing their pieces. We often recommend our kids to centralize our pieces in the middle game, especially the minor and then the major pieces. And I think black is following that principle uh, in a great discipline. So they're getting the good advantage out of it.
Correct. So, Abhishek, if you analyze this position, even though when you compare the material, white has a decisive advantage, but when you look at the activity of pieces, right? When you look at the number
Yes,
of active pieces, black is doing fine.
exactly. So
See
it's
the knight
not
on
about,
a4. What is
yeah,
white's knight on a4 doing? Nothing, right?
yeah, and
What
most
about
of the
what about the
white
rook of
pieces are
a4?
sleeping.
Yeah.
That looks like something, it's a gone position, I guess, for the white. If they don't bring their pieces into the activity, I think black can still manage to outplay white.
Now, Abhishek, here what black should do is, oh, okay, can you just go one more back, please? Get another rook into the game, the rook which is on f8. And the easiest way to get the rook into the game is play king to g8. Sorry, h8. Move the king aside and deliver a check with the rook. That would be deadly.
Yes, I mean, that check, king has to go, let's say, h4, and rook h5 is a mate in that position.
Mate,
The ladder
absolutely, yes.
checkmate.
Another two moves checkmate, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we need to appreciate, even though black is playing in the less material, they are not ready to give up in the position, and they are giving their everything what they have to fight in this position, not resigning and just trying to use everything what they have.
Correct. Okay, now I think the game is done.
I think the
The
black
rook
has a
is,
decisive advantage. I
the
think
rook
we
is
can
also
head
done.
head to the next game. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Now we'll yeah. Now we are getting a request from the summer, so we'll go through their game.
Okay.
Yeah. Summer is currently going against Raghav Sharma, who is playing as white, and Summer himself is
Okay.
playing from the black. Do you see the rating difference?
Yeah, but what just happened on the board, Abhishek? The queen
Oh
is
my
no more.
god. Oh, the kids are blundering their queen. Oh,
Okay. This is a nice double attack, Abhishek. What do you think?
yes. I mean, white is in a serious problem right now, if I state it in one word.
Correct, correct. So, Abhishek, do you see any way of saving your pieces here?
Mm, I
The
mean,
queen is attacking both the knight and the bishop at the same time, so it's a double attack.
so white can try bishop captures f7 in order to take the black's castle and then just save the knight like that. That could have been better.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I
Black
mean, that
has to
looks fine.
develop.
Yes, they have the material advantage, but the development is something that black need to utterly focus upon. Black is trying. Okay, there are light square weaknesses, but the light square bishop is not yet in the game from the black army, and this can make a significant difference in this position currently.
Okay, now f4, right? Pawn to f4. Very good move.
Yeah,
And you lose the bishop.
I mean,
Exploit the
bishop can
pin.
retreat to.
Really? No? It was a
Oh,
pin.
it
Pinned
can't.
bishop.
It was a pin. Oh my god, I didn't even notice. Wow. I was just looking at how the black can achieve a mate on the white's king. Yes, I think position looks fairly stable, but the activity of white pieces is again witnessing the true potential of activity. If your pieces are active, you can outplay your opponent who has more material. And we are witnessing this thing for the second time in this game, in today's
Correct.
tournament itself.
So this
So
is a
I
lesson
think
for everyone, right, Abhishek? Even if you are down in material, try to activate your pieces.
yes.
Your
It
active
doesn't
pieces.
matter how much, yeah, it doesn't matter how much material we have, but it is going to matter, if your remain whatever pieces you have, if those pieces are active, then they can make a significant difference in this position.
Absolutely, Abhishek. No doubt about that.
White is getting furious on the black, if you notice right now.
Yeah, this is a nice game to follow.
Yes. I think black should quickly bring their pieces into the game.
Yeah, this is good. It's better to liquidate the position.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
the knight is. Oh, okay. The queen was hanging.
yes. I think the kids should play a bit slower. They are missing on some royal opportunities. Okay.
See, black has to somehow connect the rooks.
One of the
This
rook
is
is gone.
really difficult for black now.
I'm
Even though black
having
is
this
still on the board.
I'm having this premonition that white is winning this game.
High chances, why not? The pieces are active. Okay, can you go to the next game, Abhishek? Do we have any recommendations?
Um, no, I think we should stay on the leaderboard because we are in the
Oh,
last 3 minutes. And even if we want to, let's say, take a game, I would recommend a game which is being played by currently the toppers of the leaderboard.
sure.
I think Sony 1976 has came really stronger. They have
Mm-hmm.
suddenly created a good streak of winning like 7 games in a row, and they are in the top two suddenly. And I think they have showcased a great potential.
That's quite
I think we
commendable, yeah.
should go through one of their games. So I think Sony is playing from the pieces of white against Master Vedant, who is playing from the pieces of black.
Okay, so there is a gambit on the board, Abhishek.
Yes.
So, Abhishek, can you quickly explain the viewers why do some players play gambit in the opening?
Yes, yes. So Gambit is basically you give a bit of material, a free material in the opening in order to get some quick positional advantage. So here, if we see, the white has given the f2 pawn on f4 for completely free to the black. Now this is not where they are giving their material for free. It has a planning behind it where the white pawn won't be able to control the center and black can introduce the second pawn in the center, and white is now having a beautiful grip in the center with 2 pawns, which makes them a bit superior in the center, and the pawn can be recaptured later on, and white has a phenomenal development after this.
Thank you, Abhishek. Yeah, that was a nice explanation.
Pawn c3. Wow, white spotted it. Okay, now yeah, I mean, position looks balanced for both the players. I think we are into the last 1 minute. So I would like to keep my eyes on the leaderboard to see who is going to take the crown of this week. This game cannot get completed according to my knowledge. Now we are in the last almost 30 seconds of this tournament where Arnav Dhama is leading the game with insane amount of lead in the on the board with 32 points, followed by Manvik who has 26 points. Then we have Sony 1976 just a bit away from Manvik with the lead of 24 points. Then we have Afnan on the fourth position with 22 points. Then we have Sai Shri Dash on the fifth position with 22 points. So the difference between the person on the fourth and fifth position is just none. Okay, we have finally got our winners of this game. We have Sony 1976 on the third position with a win rate of 88% and seven wins in a row. Then we have Manvik on the second position with a 73% of win rate, and he has secured the second position. And finally, we have Arnav Dhama, who has got the crown of this week with a
Yeah.
whooping 89% of win rate on the first position. So I would like to congratulate all the participants who took a part in in this tournament and made it a big success. Again, if you keep on practicing on regular basis, you can be in the top 3 of the leaderboard next time. And it's not about winning or losing. It's about you are showing yourself and you are practicing. One day you are going to achieve the same level as well. And each and every participant has given us a good show. Pratik sir, I would like to thank you for hosting this tournament. And yeah, I mean, we had a really great time, right?
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek, for having me, and congratulations to all the players who participated today, and special congratulations to the winners of today's tournament. Keep practicing chess. That's how you get better at it.
Yes.
Thank you,
So
Abhishek.
we are signing out for the moment. Good night to all the viewers. Thank you so much for tuning with us. Make sure you like, you comment, and you subscribe to the stream. The kids can go through the stream after completing this. As the tournament is now completed, the kids can go through the stream and take some learning lessons from us. Take care till then. Bye and have a great time. We'll meet on the in the next week with another great
Bye, everyone.
tournament. Bye bye.